If you've been to an Anglican service, you've seen the work of Thomas Cranmer. It's hard to overstate the contributions of this man to the English Church, even to this day. So who was this man, and why do Anglicans so cherish the Book of Common Prayer that he helped craft? Cranmer was the Archbishop of Canterbury from 1533 until his execution in 1556. This was a time of significant change in England and in the Western Church. Over time, his theology had shifted from more traditionally Roman views to a more Reformed view on issues such as the Sacraments, the role of Scripture, and of justification. As he occupied the highest office in the English Church, he was uniquely positioned to shepherd the English Church through his work with the prayer book and the liturgy. Cranmer accomplished much through his liturgical reforms. For example, he rejected the Roman idea of transubstantiation. He emphasized, as many reformers did, that Christ is truly present in the Eucharist and is received through faith. In other words, the bread and wine are not tokens that are effective apart from faith. This change in theology is introduced with great sensitivity in the 1549 prayer book, and then with much more boldness by the 1552 revision. He was concerned with combating superstitious practices while leading a church that was divided along Catholic and Protestant lines. Another significant change he made was to encourage and exhort parishioners to partake of communion regularly. This might seem odd to us in the 21st century, when it's customary to take communion once a week, or at least once a month in Anglican churches. This was not the custom in the late medieval period. In many parishes, lay people only took communion once a year, and even then they only partook of the bread and not the wine. It was Cranmer's wish that they would partake more regularly and of both kinds, at least 3 times a year, and eventually every week. Cranmer was leading them out of a kind of spiritual desert into the fuller richness of God's promise. I, for one, am a grateful beneficiary of his vision. What we see in Cranmer's approach to liturgy is both sensitivity and leadership. In his time, he was aware of the many theological and political controversies that were playing out, but at the core, he was concerned with drawing clergy and parishioners alike closer to Christ, using liturgy as a means to form Christians in that relationship in a real and embodied way. This approach is very much woven into Anglican heritage since the 1500s and Christianity more broadly through the ages. So in your own parish, if you notice your priest or pastor making subtle adjustments to your mode of worship, it might not be merely due to his personal preference. It might be, as Cranmer was doing in his day, a way of shepherding the flock evermore unto Christ.